Hi, I'm Lisa Chaplin. First I'd like to thank the Sydney Mechanics School of Arts and the Thomas Keneally Centre for this opportunity to speak about my work today. And I'd like to thank the coolest bookstore in Newtown, Better Read Than Dead. Love this place. I've been published for 16 years, both in historical and in romantic crime fiction. My current work is as Melissa James, Beneath the Skin. It's set in the deep outback in the Murray River region with Aboriginal major characters. In fact, I've written 6 books that feature major Aboriginal characters. Does that seem odd for a fair-skinned blonde woman? Well, if it is, so is my story. I began writing at 29 when my husband came home with an article on how much a certain writer earned and said, "Hey, you've got a good imagination. You could do that while you're at home with the kids." So that's how I started. I don't have a PhD or a master's in writing. I'm a stay-at-home mum who writes, and I'm quite proud of that. But the first year I started writing, my first book had a major Aboriginal character. And it was something I'd never thought about because I always had Aboriginal friends in my school in Western Sydney. My dad coached a whole bunch of Aboriginal kids for football. I never thought of them that way. They were just my friends. But the odd thing was the year I started writing, I went to a friend's place for lunch and her Aboriginal husband asked me what mob I came from. And I stared at him and said, "I don't." And he said, "Yeah, you do. You just don't know it yet." And he said, "Where's the gap in your ancestry?" And he didn't really even ask. It wasn't a question. He knew. And I said, "I don't know who my grandfather was." And he grinned and said, and all of his friends too, and they said, "That's it. You're definitely Koori." So I've since found out that as the mayor of the town, my great-grandfather actually threw out all the Aboriginals out of the town soon after my dad's birth. I don't know anything more. My grandmother refused to say anything about the man who fathered my father until the day she died, except that she did not deny that he was Aboriginal the way that she denied all of her other rather inventive stories about who my grandfather was. My dad called me that day and said, "Looks like you're right, hey? We are Aboriginal." That's all the story I have. Without a strong background evidence to prove it, I don't feel I can identify as an Aboriginal, but I'd like to. And that's the kind of story I write about. My most recent novel, Beneath the Skin, is about a doctor on the run from an obsessed patient. It's not about her Aboriginality. Ellie saved his life, and now Danny Spencer in his warped mind thinks it's real love. And he's going to prove that by killing anyone in his way. But the story goes beyond Ellie's search for safety to her core need to belong. As a child, Adam Jepson's grandparents' bull killed her mother by accident. And so they took Ellie in as a foster kid. And that's where she got to know Adam, who is the hero of the story. But then they threw her out of the family when she embarrassed them. And it left Ellie with a sense of deep uncertainty. The loaded charity she received after a life on the run, both with her mother and then running from Danny, has led her back to Adam to make peace with her past. This and the book I'm writing now, The Dog Track, are based on my lifetime's uncertainty with my own background and that core need all of us have to belong somewhere with some people. Many of my books have got this same theme. I've also gained knowledge from taking courses, from tours in Sydney and visiting the outback with Aboriginal tour guides. But I wouldn't call myself any form of an Aboriginal expert. To me, that's an insult, like they're anthropological wonders to study instead of ordinary humans with extraordinary stories, like most of us have. The stories I write come from inside me, and like any writer, that's all I can do, write what's inside me. My best advice to give to any new writer is to really do what I just said. Don't treat your book as a hobby or your writing as a hobby. Go and find out. I went to the Outback. I've done courses. I visited France for my historical fiction. If you treat your writing as a hobby, so will your family and friends, and you'll have to justify everything that you need to learn to make your book work. Treat it as your profession from the beginning. Give it the respect it deserves. You'll find success faster than you thought. Thank you.